All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Blaine Ashley, and I'm the founder of New York Champagne Week and the FIZZ is Female. And today we're celebrating National Rosé Day, a glorious holiday. We're toasting to Rosé Day with Rita Jammet of La Caravelle Champagne and Maria Huntz, AKA the Bubbly Girl, and the author of the Bubbly Bar and a wine journalist. So first we'll be chatting with Rita about the inspiration behind La Caravelle Rosé Champagne and how the brand got started and all that jazz. So hi, Rita.
Hi, everyone. I think I know most everyone, but I just quickly will remind you ladies of my background. My husband, Andre, and I owned the restaurant La Caravelle, which was located in Midtown Manhattan. We owned it until 2004 for 20 years. The restaurant was started in 1960, and we got into it in 84. The math is starting to get fuzzy, oh boy, and fizzy. So we had our restaurant, and then Andre and I wanted to offer one extra kind of hospitality gesture to our guests. And we decided to have our own champagne cuvée, which we started in 1998 at the restaurant only for our guests. Just one store was carrying it at the time so that our guests could go and purchase it. La Caravelle was a French classic restaurant, and we also added a modern component to it because you need to have your finger on the pulse of what's going on around you. So we managed to have both without confusing people about who we were about. And when the champagne started, it was a wonderful adventure. At some point, I'll fast track, in 04, we had to close the restaurant. It was an indirect consequence of 9/11, which happened in 01. And after we decided to close, we thought we would stop everything. But our guests, our friends, our family urged us by saying, "Hey, why don't you continue the champagne?" And I gave me, matter to think about, because I did not want to leave the hospitality industry. It's my industry, it's my world. The people are amazing, and that was a perfect way to stay in it. It was not easy because you're transitioning from hosting people in your place, just a restaurant, and then all of a sudden your brand becomes a beverage brand, or a champagne brand. So that was a bit of a interesting branding extension. It took a long time, but those of you who know me know that I'm pretty perseverant. And when you want something, you have to go for it, even though you get a lot of people discouraging you at the beginning. And it didn't stop me, as it shouldn't stop any of you. If you want to do something, go for your dreams. La Caravelle, originally it was only a brut cuvée, and in 08 we worked with a different winery, which is called De Castellane. It's based in Épernay, Champagne, and it's part of the Laurent Perrier group. We were able to offer not only a brut, but also, which is called Cuvée Niña, but also a Blanc de Blanc and rosé. I have been passionate about not only champagne, but rosé for many years. And I remember back in the days of La Caravelle, I was telling, my Andre and the group of people who were managing, and I said, "Man, rosé, mark my words, rosé champagne is going to be a big thing." Everybody laughed at me, saying, "Men will never drink a pink beverage or some kind of idea like that." And I said, "Well, I don't know why, but I have this hunch, because for me, it's the best of both worlds." I like to call it the double magic. The first magic being the bubbles, second magic, that color that's enchanting, and it has such great meaning. And I believe it has beneficial physical properties too. So maybe I'm crazy, but anyway.
What are the physical properties? I gotta ask.
I think it's the biggest one is the morale lifting. Your morale is higher after you drink rosé. And when you're just looking at it, you
Yeah,
know,
it's beautiful.
it gives you, it makes for a better look, better complexion look. It's like, it brightens up everything.
So kind of like rosé colored lenses, but add a sparkling twist to that. So like rosé colored sparkling lenses. You're seeing life through rosé colored sparkling
that's
lenses.
right. The only thing, I'm not sure how the bubbles for vision would be good on, let's say if you're driving.
Yes,
So yeah, I always thought that this was this was a perfect combination, and so we went for it, and I was so thrilled to see how the rosé has taken on, not only as a still wine, but the champagne, rosé champagne. It conjures being sitting by a pool, you know, or like all the pleasant things in life. If you like pool, if you like mountain, whatever, you're outdoors in a happy place. That's
yes.
what I like to call it. Rosé is a happy place, for me at least.
Yolanda says, in other words, sexy AF. Yeah, you're right,
Yes,
Yolanda.
totally. Right on, Yolanda.
So can you tell us in particular about the actual rosé, the grape
Sure.
variations, tasting notes?
So rosé, as I was mentioning earlier, we have the three cuvées, and we color coded. I'm crazy about color coding because I think it tells a story before you even have to tell it. We have the three golds. White gold is Blanc de Blanc, yellow gold is Cuvée Niña, and then rosé is rose gold. And you all know La Caravelle is a type of ship that was sailed on to discover the New World. So for us, it's a huge symbol that is so perfect because it shows how champagne can go with everything, practically. Um, so this cuvée is, it's a blended rosé as opposed to the bleeding method.
Yeah.
So to make the rosé, our rosé champagne, the winemaker takes the basic blend of our Cuvée Niña, the Brut, which is 40% Chardonnay, 30% Pinot Noir, and 40% and 30% Pinot Meunier. So what you get is a good base, and then the winemaker blends in some still Pinot Noir red wine in that blend, which about 10-15% of it, and then it's aged for 2 years in the bottle on the lees, at least. So that's how we obtain this rosé. Just by comparison, the bleeding method is, as you know, Pinot Noir, Pinot Meunier are red grapes, and Chardonnay is the white grape. They would let in the blend, or maybe completely 100% dark red grape. The winemaker would let the grapes, after they've been crushed, they let them a little longer with the skin, and the skin gives the color to the actual wine. So that would be the other method, but ours is a blend. And first, I would like to say that champagne to me is based on the art of blending. It's unbelievable how these cellar masters and winemakers can have, like, I don't know what kind of computers in their head and in their connected to their nose and palate, but they remember they can blend in up between 300 and 700 different still wines to obtain a blend. I mean, think about that. The same wine can come from the same parcel, but one part of the land has a different orientation than the other. Well, the wines will be slightly different, and then the winemaker will detect that and use one instead of the other, depending on what he needs to achieve in his blend. So to me, that's a big part of the magic and the skill of champagne. And so that's second degree blending here, because it's, as you know, the only place in the world where you can basically blend white and red wines to obtain a rosé. So only in Champagne it's okay to do it.
Did you work with the winemakers extensively on getting the profile right, and also the color? I mean, it's just so beautiful. It's one of the most beautiful champagne rosés that I have seen, because it's just got this vibrancy. It's almost like a neon pink. I love it. It's in a good way. That's a compliment. By the vibrancy, it's very vibrant.
It is vibrant. We absolutely worked with the winemaker, especially to transmit what we were looking for as far as image and style and properties of the blend, because the most important to us, it has to be approachable on many levels. The flavor profile, the price, also the cost, and then also the fact that it could marry with so many different kinds of foods. And for that, you need, I believe, a certain balance in the blend.
Mm-hmm.
As far as sweetness is concerned, acidity, it has to be able to complement the food and not fight it. Or for me, it's 1 + 1 = 3. That's a successful pairing. So
And
that
I know that Maria is going to talk about food pairings in a little bit, but what are some of your favorite food pairings? Because you're one of the people that has, you have some of the best taste in food of anyone I know. So, what are some of your favorite pairings with the rosé champagne?
with the rosé champagne, I think the beauty of the rosé, given it that it has a healthy dose of red grapes in it, in one form or another, is that it will marry with so many different kinds of foods, all the way to dark meats, burger, barbecue, and before that, obviously, we have, the white meats. We have also with shellfish, it's perfect also because of the acidity that comes in at the end that picks up the whole thing. So to have rosé champagne with a pizza, or with obviously all the things that are carb heavy, pizza, chips, all these things. Fried chicken is amazing with rosé champagne, and with champagne in general. But I like to be a little gutsy by saying you can have a juicy steak with the rosé champagne.
Yeah, no, you just gave me a great idea. I'm in Hilton Head with my family, and I might ask my dad to grill burgers after this. We have an open bottle of your champagne. That's a good idea
Yes.
for lunch.
Yeah, and the beauty is that the acidity and the bubbles and the chill temperature of the champagne will be a wonderful counterbalance to the fat and richness of the meat. So
Yeah,
without being that the champagne has a little body to itself, it won't fight it too much at all. Actually, it will really enhance each other.
absolutely. That's amazing. Well, I love this champagne rosé. Obviously, one of my favorites. One of my favorite people. One of my favorite rosé champagnes. I mean, can't get better than this. Celebrate National Rosé Day.
True.
Cheers.
Yes.
So shall we talk to Maria now a bit about, so Maria has some great suggestions for creating cocktails, inspired by your book, The Bubbly Bar, and then also great pairing suggestions, brunch time pairings. And yeah, we'd love to chat with you about all of your inspiration for
Thank
National
you.
Day.
Thank you, Blaine. I'm so excited
Yeah.
to be here with all of you. Sparkling wine has been just always one of my favorites. When I was a restaurant critic in San Diego at the newspaper there, and I started learning about wine, learning from the first master somm ever in the US, and talking about what wines pair with what kinds of foods. And I was really surprised to learn that a lot of people didn't know champagne and other sparkling wines are amazing with food, just because, as Rita was saying, the bubbles and the acidity that they have naturally, they make it such a great partner for so many foods. Something rich, you think about like fried chicken, or maybe pork ribs, barbecue. I think that's amazing with rosé. That's one of the most amazing pairings. If you've never tried it, please get to do that this summer. So that's really where I got started, and talking to people about the fact that, and writing about it and blogging about it, and doing events, talking about how great all of these wines were. But that's only part of why Bubbly is so amazing. Like Rita was saying, it's like there's a sort of an emotional component to these wines. It's like you hear the pop, you see the shape of the bottle, the bubbles, the streams that are coming up in your glass. It's exciting. And so it makes people happy. And it makes you think of the last time you had sparkling wine, which was usually a celebration of some kind. But I find that if you open a bottle, it's like, it makes it a celebration. So you don't have to wait for a special occasion. You can make your own special occasion that way.
And is that what brought you into the world of bubbly, that ethos? Is that what made you kind of make the shift from food critic to all things bubbly?
Well, it was just sort of a natural evolution. I thought back to growing up in Chicago. A lot of my relatives are great cooks, not professionals, but just coming from the South, and we would have family parties at my great aunt's house, and there'd be all kinds of food, and she'd usually be barbecuing, and there were like great summery foods, and sparkling wine was part of it. My grandmother made some really amazing, what she called champagne punches. They really weren't champagne, but it was a sparkling punch. And so that sort of got me into that idea from a really early age. And so just was always drawn to those wines. Plus, I think when you're new in wine, the whole world of wine and trying to understand it is so overwhelming. And you might try like a big cab or something that when you're younger and your palate isn't developed, it almost overwhelms. But sparkling wines, there's an approachability and sort of a softness to them. So that makes it a good starter wine, I think, for so many people. So.
And you mentioned the master som that you worked at. You said he was the first in the US?
Yeah, his name is Eddie Osterland, and he's in San Diego, and he's still doing wine classes. He has a book out. And so that was a great inspiration. And I started coming up to the Culinary Institute of America in St. Helena and taking courses from people like, Karen McNeil and Holly Mondavi. And so, that was just sort of the progression. And when I knew I wanted to write a book about this, I did go on and I did my first level with the quartermaster sommeliers. So just because I wanted to be able to talk about wine in, a professional way, but I didn't want to know so much that you lose touch with how regular people think about wine and consume it. So I've always been into like sort of, it's an everyday pleasure. You don't have to save it.
Exactly. Just because drink.
Right. Exactly. Bubbly 365.
I love it. So you're the founder of the bubbligirl.com, which you've had for over a decade, right?
Yeah, probably longer than that. And to be honest, I've gotten a little busy with some other things, doing marketing for large brands and writing, but sort of this is still kind of always in my heart. And you probably can't see, but there's a little champagne bucket. It's a Tiffany charm that I wear it every day. So it's a retired charm they don't make anymore, but it just kind of is a reminder. Yeah.
I wish they did.
Should be brought back in already. Yeah.
I know they should, really.
Can we contact the original designer, please?
We should do that, yes. Especially with all the growth that's happening. I think people nowadays, when I started with the book and I came out in 2009, a lot of people didn't really understand that you could pair sparkling champagne with anything you wanted to. Now I think people are much more into that idea. There was, the release of all those little bottles, the 187 size packaging that made it much, easier to take to a party or to the beach or somewhere else. So, yeah.
That and the half bottles too are good.
Half bottles are also good.
I was gonna say Rita has the half bottles for the Cuvée Niña, the Brut.
Oh, nice.
Hopefully in the future you can do them for the Rosé and the Blanc de Blanc too.
Ooh, that would be nice. Yes. So speaking of cocktails, I mean, that was sort of a natural progression. It's a fun way to use these wines, but these days I really like to make cocktails that are approachable. They're using seasonal fruit, things that you can easily find at the store, things that you have in your cupboard. And also take a lot of inspiration from different dishes that I've had kind of in my background. So in France, they love to take fresh berries, and you add maybe a little bit of sugar and some freshly ground black pepper and sometimes some balsamic vinegar. And you kind of let that macerate or break down. And it's really great over ice cream. It's really good on its own. And so
strawberries Strawberries is a huge thing in France. And
strawberries are huge. I did it with raspberries though, because that's what I had in my freezer. I'd gotten some on sale at Whole Foods. And so I made first though a black pepper syrup, which is really easy to do. I took a teaspoon and a half of freshly ground black pepper, and you mix that with simple syrup. So that's just basically, equal parts sugar and water. The thing that makes it different, and the recipe is on my website, thebubblygirl.com, on the blog. The thing that makes it different is that with the black pepper, before you add it to your syrup, you need to toast it in a dry pan, because what that does is it releases the oils and the fragrance from the black pepper. And then when you add it to the syrup, it's going to be much more flavorful. So the cocktail I did, it's called the Pink Pepperberry Fizz, came up with this, a few days ago. And so it was that black pepper simple syrup, which is really versatile as well. You can use it over other berries. You can even add it to a vinaigrette that you do if you're doing a salad that has some fruit in it, like even berries or a peach salad. So you're adding just a teaspoon of that syrup. You're adding a couple raspberries, and then you're topping it off with La Caravelle Rosé Champagne. And there you go.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. That sounds fantastic. I apologize, I didn't have berries on hand today. So,
Oh, that's okay.
but I mean, you also have Harry's berries. The strawberries are incredible.
They are. Those are beautiful.
But it's a category on its own. It's incredible.
Right. For this one, I used just Driscoll's, you know, the organic berries, because berries can be very sprayed with chemicals. So I really like to use organic whenever possible.
Of course.
So yeah, so it's a nice bright cocktail, but you can really taste the champagne shining through. It just adds a little different edge to it.
It's good because the peppery component is not obviously in the champagne, so that's adds a little.
Yeah, definitely.
Without overpowering it.
I also I like the idea of the peach. I think that'd be really cool with La Caravelle. I think it'd work really well, like the vinegar.
I think it would too. I know. So I might try that later this afternoon, in fact.
Definitely.
For my next cocktail.
I do have to interject for a minute. Yeah, true. Someone just asked, Janet just asked Julie if she was La Caravelle's rep. And I'm like, not officially, but maybe unofficially. So that was pretty funny. But yeah, that's a great cocktail.
I'm trying to get it in here. Give me time.
Yeah, you're going to get in?
Let's talk.
The official DC rep for champagne.
Honored.
Yeah, seriously.
And Janet, so good to see you again after so many years.
I know. I'm thrilled for you. You know, I've been tracking it, and so I just took over, you know, the executive position with a restaurant group in the DMV, and I'm doing the wine list and, you know, remodeling everything. So someone said to me at one point that La Caravelle was served at the Q restaurant. So I was going to investigate this because, of course, we take care of our friends if we can. And so I'll take a look at it again.
Can't wait to be back in DC and see you later.
Yeah, I can't wait to go back to DC. Speaking of fried chicken, Julia, quickly, what was that place we had that amazing seminar for DC Champagne?
Oh, Mason and Larder.
Oh
Mason
my
and
gosh.
Larder
Do you
in Northwest
remember
Connecticut Avenue.
AJ,
do you remember me picking up that fried chicken during my speech and like drinking the champagne?
Yeah, they have a champagne and fried chicken brunch every Sunday. Mason and Larder.
That was my date night last night. And then on my birthday, it was Delamont and champagne with fried chicken. So I'm a big fan. Also potato chips. Pardon?
Same winemaker, so it's perfect.
Oh, nice. Didn't know that.
The food there was, and I can't wait to go back to DC. We had a fun night. Julia tagged along the whole time. So we did DC Champagne Week there.
As soon as travel and everything opens up, I want to do winemaker dinners, etc. So let's talk about some events together.
Would love to. Sign me up. Would love to.
Excuse me, the whole reason. We'll make it all pink.
Definitely. I wanted to add something. Maria and I have met over 10 years, about 10 years ago.
Oh, at least, yeah.
At least in a huge, in New Orleans, there was this enormous lineup of champagne and sparkling wine. And it was an incredible conference. I've rarely seen a lineup like this one ever since.
Right, that many champagne makers, that many master sommeliers or future master sommeliers. I mean, it was everybody you can think of was there.
Laura Manick, Pascaline de Pelletier, I mean, you name it.
Fred Dexheimer was there. Yeah.
Maria, could you send me some info on that? Maria, could you send me info on that?
On which?
The big event that you had done on the champagne.
Oh, that was like 10 years ago. I didn't organize the event.
We were part of it in our different capacities.
Okay.
We were invited guests. So yeah, I was there talking about the book that I did and my site. So.
Yeah.
Well, Maria, where are you based?
I'm based in Oakland, California.
Yeah. I used to live in San Francisco. My first life was a designer for Levi Strauss.
Oh,
so I
nice.
love it there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So do you travel to the East Coast?
I was there, actually, I was there all across the East Coast in February. I went to DC, so I went to Zytenia, of course, and was in New York at a number of really cool places, and then came back home, and I think I got sick after that. Ooh. But yes, I look forward to being able to come back to
Well, keep me posted so I could get you on one of your jaunts and maybe we could organize something with Rita and maybe
Oh, that would be
something on a
great.
bigger level. Yeah.
I would love that.
Yeah. In
All
fact,
right, so we
yep.
will dive back in and get to Maria has a great brunch item that she loves to pair with champagne rosé.
Right.
And
so
excited.
Thank you, Blaine, for bringing it back. Since I really started as a restaurant critic, thinking about sparkling wines as something to pair with, I really wanted to kind of break down sort of like simply how you pair. So, and I realized I haven't done this blog post on my site, but I've done it for other people like Total Wine and More and a great booklet, but it's like 3 ways to pair. So this pairing is going to really play off the whole idea of kind of opposites attract. So you think about the things that you love to eat for breakfast. We have bacon and there's ham and there's eggs and cheese, you know, quiche, a lot of kind of really rich things. So, and a little bit of saltiness to them. And so that's why a rosé champagne is such a good pair, because it has the acidity to kind of cut through those rich flavors. Plus it's just got that little hint of red fruit flavor that kind of sweetens things up. So it's a very lovely pairing with anything you pick. Like I said, with bacon, it's gonna work. So one of my favorite places here in the Napa Valley, which is about 45 minutes away from where I live, is a place called the Model Bakery. And it's a bakery that was started about 30 years ago by a woman named Karen, and her daughter Sarah helps her run it now. But it's one of Oprah's favorite things, and for very good reason. And I remember before I tried one of the English muffins, someone was saying it was like, imagine if a donut, like a fried donut and an English muffin had a love child. And
the best soundbite ever. I love
what
that.
the result would be. And that's not my line. I don't even know the man's name, so I can't, but I have to, it's a good one, so I have to use it. So just letting you see, this is the English muffin from the outside. So Karen, who's the founder, was telling me, I would adopt that child too, was telling me that one of their cooks one day was just playing around and they had some dough and there was some clarified butter. And they're like, I wonder what would happen if I fried this English muffin dough in the clarified butter. And the rest is history. So, and they also put this really great cornmeal on the outside when they fry them. So it's the kind of thing you have to commit to eating. You cannot sneak and eat this or think it's going to be dainty. It's going to be kind of, you know, buttery, and it's going to be crummy and delicious. So I am a big fan of the Egg McMuffin. I mean, everybody else loves their McDonald's fries. I think the Egg McMuffin is the best, you know, invention that they came up with. And so I use that as a base for my sandwich. So I did it in 2 styles today, just kind of a classic. So it's an egg that I cooked over easy. I used a little kind of a ring mold to keep it sort of in the right shape. I used a slice of uncured ham, and then some white cheddar cheese. And then the kind of special thing I do is I do this sort of a chipotle mayo. I have a really good friend in San Diego named Isabel Cruz, who has some wonderful restaurants. One of Isabel's that's by the beach. And her whole cuisine is all about these great sauces that you can add to anything. And so this is one of hers that it makes the breakfast sandwich amazing. So it's really easy to do. I also did a version, if you want to try to be a little healthy, I'll show you.
Trying is the operative word.
Try a little. I mean, you're still having champagne and an English muffin that was fried in butter, but I added some spinach to this one. And it's a really, just a little bit. It's a really nice addition. Adds a little earthiness, but the rosé champagne can still stand up to it. So I urge you to try this. There's also a link we're going to share to my newsletter, and you'll get the full recipe for the sandwich and the chipotle mayo sauce. So if you want to make it at home.
I saw you posted that on Instagram, the sandwich today, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I made these. I got up this morning and made them, and then I had to go into hair and makeup for our chat. So here we are. So I hope you try it and enjoy it.
Fantastic.
That sounds amazing. So Maria, can you tell us briefly about your book, The Bubbly Bar, and is it still available? Is it still available for purchase?
Well, technically, it came out in 2009. So let me grab a copy. It came out in 2009. Here's the cover. It was published by Clarkson Potters, a division of Random House. So technically, they don't have it to sell anymore, but you can still find it on Amazon. The best place for me, if you come to my website, you can order a copy, and I will be happy to inscribe it and send it out to you. It's a really great gift. I mean, if you like making cocktails, which we're all doing a lot of that, and drinking at home, and making cocktails at home, it's a great thing to have on hand, but it also makes a lovely gift for anyone who loves to entertain. So if someone's getting married, that sort of thing.
Will you type in the link on the chat? Can you do that?
I will try to. I have my phone sort of.
Oh, okay. Well, let me do it.
Up on a little. It's thebubblyGirl.com.
Okay. And then
or if you go to my Instagram, there's a link tree there, and it gives you all the links. You get my website link to the newsletter, sign up, everything.
And what are some of the things that you're doing with the Bubbly Girl in the future? Do you have any plans? Anything fresh?
I don't know. Well, hopefully, maybe doing something for Champagne Week in New York. And that happens again. And I've always wondered why there isn't some sort of event like that here on the West Coast, just because there's so many people who love champagne and sparkling wine out here, love cuisine, great chefs, sunshine, which is, I think, the essence of sparkling. I think it would be really successful. So
yeah, you should organize that.
I should organize it. Okay, well, you're in, right?
Maybe Blaine, I don't know.
Okay.
No, I've thought about it for a long time. You know, I've wanted to do something in San Francisco because San Francisco is a huge champagne drinking.
Yeah,
it is. I went to the last time I was in Napa, I drank more champagne and French wine than I drank of Napa wines. It was crazy. I was with like professionals, and it was amazing. Huge champagne community there. I've definitely thought about it. I'm bringing FIZZ Female, of course, all over the country.
Okay.
The intended plans were to take it to like Batonage and Aspen Food and Wine and festivals this year, and then COVID happened, so hopefully 2021. But I would love to do a champagne week in Sonoma, Napa, or San Francisco.
I think you could. I think the thing that I'm really focusing on doing is, you know, I love doing marketing, and that's a great base, and it's been a great way to help other people learn about sparkling wine and all types of wine and champagne through the writing that I've been doing for Total Wine. But I really want to get back into more creation of content, creating recipes, food pairings, writing for news sites. And so I've really been using this time to pitch a lot of stories that I haven't seen out there, and I've had a really great response. In fact, I'm like, I can't believe all the stories I have myself lined up to do over the next 2 weeks. So it's been great. Yeah.
Thriving. Who knew we'd be thriving potentially during a pandemic?
I think it's like, thank you, Julia. I think what it does is that for all of us, you think like, oh my gosh, this is like kind of like sort of the end of the world in a way. And so you start to think about what is really important in my life, what am I supposed to be doing, and why am I not doing that thing? And so, I mean, what do you all think about that?
Or the beginning of a better world.
Right, maybe.
Right? Like the end of one world that's not working and a beginning of a better world. I think that's more of the way to look at it. So that's my...
Yeah.
I mean, it might have been painful at some point, or it still is, but it's kind of a reset button in a way, which is allowing us to align what's happening outside with what we want to do, or what we are now, where we are now.
Right.
It's not an easy work, though.
No. And then reconnecting with people that I haven't, I mean, I've had a great conversation with an editor and writer that I haven't talked to in like literally 8 or 9 years. And so we just spent an hour on the phone. And Rita, I haven't talked to you in forever.
I'm so grateful.
I think it's been wonderful that people are kind of creating these new connections or renewing them. So yes, to a better future.
Yes. Well, I'm going to go ahead and, what was that, Rita?
A rosier future.
A rosier, yes. I love that. I'm gonna go ahead and unmute everyone, and if we can just chat and hang out, I'll turn off the recording so you can say
Okay.
cuss word if you want. You can down your whole bottle of rosé on screen, whatever you feel like. It's National Rosé Day. Let's get wild. But I'm gonna go ahead and pause the recording. So thank you to Maria and to Rita.
Thank you.
Oh,
for having
thank
us.
you so
And
much
thanks
for
everyone
having this
for joining.
idea.
This is wonderful.
This has been great.
So much fun. I was saying Maria had messaged me a couple weeks ago and to see if we could collaborate in some fashion. And Rita and I had just been talking about doing more with like rosé cocktails, and it just was a perfect happenstance.
Yes.
scenario.
Serendipity. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well,
Thanks.
I'm going to go ahead and turn off, and then we can just unmute everyone and get to chatting. So cheers.